Lidbetter here with another edition of Judgement Calls. And joining me for this edition, a gentleman that I've known for many years, back to NDG, as we're both NDG natives, Mr. Wayne Mundey, who has had a long career in hockey and still works in it. He was a referee in the World Hockey Association coming out of NDG, where I got to ref with him. He has been a longtime pro scout with the St. Loouis Blues, including some Stanley Cup success. And he's also a special advisor to the St. John Sea Dogs of the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. So hockey is in his blood. And Wayne, I want to welcome you and thank you for joining me today.
You're very welcome, Mark.
Now, it's a funny time. It's the COVID times. There's a lot of anxious parents out there, a lot of anxious players, you know, in the AAA levels, the school levels, the high school levels that might be looking at their draft year this year to go to the Q. And of course, you got the kids in the Q that it would be their draft year for the NHL down the line next year. Will this shutdown affect at all or any their rankings, or will they have a chance to sort of make up to that final ranking by Central Scouting down the line?
Yeah, I mean, Mark, you know, everything's up in the air. There's no question. I mean, pardon me, will it retard some of their advancement as far as skill has concerned? Yes, I do agree with that, because obviously you're not getting the on-ice competition. But, you know, Mark, I've always maintained that the old, shall we say, adage that hockey finds you, you don't find hockey. So if you have the skill level and you maintain your condition when you're obviously not playing and really work hard off ice, and when you get back on ice, your skill will come back. And it's all based on what you've done during that period. And I maintain that, again, we sit in the stands, and if we look out there and see that, you know, your skill has not been retired at all, it's going to not affect you at all. So I would suggest that just work so hard off ice and try, if you possibly can, find some ice.
And now you get to, I guess, look at it differently in a sense because of your background. You got to referee in the World Hockey Association. You got to see some of the best players that jumped ship from the NHL. What was that like, being an official back then?
Yeah, Mark, pardon me. You know, it started in 1967. Of course, I did minor prior to that. I worked in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, and that time the OHA was in that league, was under the CHL. Excuse me, my sinuses. And so from there, Mark, I went in under an NHL contract and worked in the American Hockey League. And 1967, I'm old, obviously. 1967, they went from 6 teams to 12 teams. And the WHA started in 1972. So I stayed in the American League from 67 to 72 and doing some NHL lines once in a while when they would call me up. And at that time, Mark, obviously, when WHA started, you know, they were looking for officials. So I jumped to the World Hockey Association and stayed there till 79. So it was a really, what would I say, great experience for me to be on the ice with, obviously, Gordie Howe and Bobby Hull, Jerry Cheevers. And so it really is something that I maintain in, you know, in my heart, that it was such a great opportunity. I don't regret it, Mark. I don't regret leaving the National Hockey League to go to the World Hockey Association. One of the things that did help was the fact that they were giving 2-year contracts, which was not something that you could obtain back in those days. So that did help. I just bought a new house and what have you. So that was something that really helped. But you know, when I look back and see some of the, you know, the players that I had an opportunity to be on the ice with, it's really, really rewarding to me. And, you know, it was a great transition, Mark, from going from the World Hockey Association and staying in hockey for so long to scouting. there's a lot of nepotism in the business, Mark. Everybody kind of knows everybody. And I was very good friends with Larry Plow, both not so much on ice, let me say off ice. And when Larry took over in St. Louis as general manager, he asked me would I like to stay in the business, and I said, of course I would. So I started scouting then, Mark, and I started on the amateur side for the first 3 years, and then I went to the pro side. So it's been such a rewarding career, pardon me, from beginning at the junior level in hockey and ending up, I'm part-time now with the Blues. It's turned out very well. Obviously, last year, not last year, the year before, we won the Stanley Cup. And that was really something that is rewarding, obviously, again, to talk about it. I mean, it's, I ended up getting a Stanley Cup ring. And behind me here, I had that here, Mark. They gave us, everybody got a miniature Stanley Cup with the Blues name, and my name's on there individually as a pro scout. And here I am. I'm really bragging here, but I don't mind because it's a Stanley Cup situation, right, Mark?
That's the bling, that ring. That's
yeah. Then they, Doug Armstrong had called me and said, Wayne, what's your ring size? And I said 11 and a half or something like that. Yeah. And he said, okay, fine. So I met him when the Blues came in here to the Bell Center, and Doug was there, and they presented, I'll stop that, Mark, presented me with the ring and that. So, yeah, I mean, it's just been an opportunity of a lifetime. I'm so, what would I say, grateful to be so long in the business.
And now also you're helping with the Sea Dogs as a special advisor. What would that entail?
Yeah, Mark, Trevor Georgie is down there. He's president and general manager of the St. John Sea Dogs. And he asked me, he called me out of the blue, and I met him. This is, got to be 4 or 5 years ago. I met him at the Marriott out at the airport. And he asked me, would I be interested in helping him out? So, yes, I'm a senior advisor. Mark, it's a lot of networking for him. I can help him with some decisions. I go to training camp and try and make some decisions based on what I see as evaluating some players. So it's really turned out well for me, Mark. We won the President's Cup. That's going to be 3 years ago, I believe.
3 years back.
It was really, rewarding again. It doesn't take a lot of my time, but Trevor and I have a great relationship. I think he trusts my evaluation and my experience and advice I give to him. So yeah, it's a great organization. Scott McCain owns a team down there. And it's just a excellent organization. I can't say enough about how they treat the young players down there with the education, just respect and teaching the Sea Dogs way of life, shall we say.
Excellent. Now, it's not as if you don't get enough hockey. I've run into you a few times at the rink. You enjoy when you can getting out to see your nephews. I believe it's twins he has?
That's correct. Yes. Yeah.
And you've watched them play. They played out at Dollard, I believe, is it?
That's right, Mark. Yeah.
And when you go to a game, do you sit and enjoy the overall game, or are you watching it with a different eye? Like how the officials are doing, and how the parents are behaving. And what would you say to parents watching their kids play? Because it's a special time.
Yeah, that's a good question, Mark. I mean, there's times when I really get caught up, and even looking at the twins, they're 10 years of age, and I'm looking at their skating, whether they're puck pursuit, their skill level, what are they doing, their transition game or what have you. So I find myself doing that, and I say, whoa, wait a minute now. These guys are 10 years of age. And I guess, Mark, as I reiterated before to you, that no matter how loud the parents yell, no how much they're involved in their everyday hockey life, if the child or the young kid has skill, we will find them. As again, I say this all the time, hockey finds you, you don't find hockey. So, you know, Mark, for now at that age, I mean, I can't think of a better word than for make hockey be fun. You know, when you're yelling at your child uh, from the stands, you know, put your stick on the ice or what have you like that, I feel all it does is embarrass him. So I really maintain that if you can maintain fun for them, they will like the game better. Their skill level will improve because when you like something, you want to get better at it. So, I mean, my only advice to the parents is, of course, be involved as much as you can, you know, giving them the best equipment, putting them in hockey schools and everything like that. But if your child has the skill, he will be drafted to the National Hockey League because they're each team, the 30 teams, 32 teams, they all have 7 or 8 amateur scouts covered all over the world. So there's not a hockey player that has skill that will fall through the cracks, believe me.
And ultimately, be a good student and be a good athlete. Because if you can get a scholarship and have your education paid for while playing a sport you love, I mean, that's a bonus right there in that respect, I would imagine. Because
Definitely, Mark.
you've seen some go on to schools, to top level schools, I'm sure.
Yes, Mark. I mean, there's pros and cons there. People feel that, you know, the schedule in college is not as intense as the schedule in the CHL. But I mean, you know, if you're going to get your education and still be able to have the skill, there's certainly a better benefit there. Because as I said to you, the American colleges, all the prep schools are covered. We have a full-time guy that's a U.S. college amateur scout. He covers all the prep schools and all the colleges. So again, I wouldn't worry about if you have the skill of playing in the queue and not getting an opportunity, or to be, in college, not getting an opportunity to be drafted, because it all depends on yourself. But I agree with you 100%, Mark, that if you can get an education along with a opportunity to be drafted in the National Hockey League, that's the way to go.
Excellent. Wayne, I want to thank you for joining me. A couple of Terrebonne Park old boys from back in the day.
Yeah.
A lot of good athletes came out of that area, and lots of stories to be told, I'm sure. But it's been great having you on here. I appreciate it.
Thanks very much, Mark, and you be safe.
You too. And my judgment calls on this one, like Wayne said, if you're good, hockey will find you, but you got to put the work into it. And until next time, this is Mark Lidbetter, sports editor of The Suburban. This has been Judgment Calls, and you know where to find me. sports@thesuburban.com. Any questions, any suggestions. Until the next time, keep your blade sharp and keep your stick on the ice.